oh boy, we got another big one for you today. Thanks, Josh, for submitting this. So I tried to time myself and see how fast I could build it out. I gave myself an hour and got in a little bit less than that. But Josh asks, sending form and data with an RFP information through an LLM, updating all this in HubSpot deals, building out the project phases and tasks using the LLMs like ChatGPT in ClickUp, capturing everything graphically, getting a screenshot, updating that template within PandaDocs, which is document automation, with a response to that RFP, answering all the questions from the RFP, putting in that ClickUp screenshot, emailing a draft to him, letting him do a review, making sure that nothing is unanswered, and then iterating through that loop again, then finally sending it out for client signature. So, pretty big flow here. The challenges for myself were 1, get this thing done in under an hour, and 2, try to figure out a way to use as few moving pieces as possible, which is always the challenge. So it looks intimidating, but it's actually not that bad. Very spooky looking. So we've only got 2 flows here. I put them both in the same diagram for the sake of, just ease of showing this thing off. So all we got set up is make a HubSpot form, put in a couple of questions related to admin and the different settings. So like, what data do you have attached? What is the URL of the ClickUp folder you want to use to create those tasks? And then do you want to add RFP attachments? Do you want to add part of a transcript from a video, full transcript, multiple transcripts? So then the system will watch out for a new form submission, get those files, create a deal if it doesn't exist within HubSpot, and then move those files into the new deal. Now it's hard to manipulate files within HubSpot's file storage, so we'll also upload all of those to Google Drive, and they basically one at a time put them in the system, because making these automation systems, you can only do one at a time. So this structure here lets us do multiple, and then depending on whether we want the full transcript from Fireflies or part of it or just none at all, go through, get that information, and upload it to Google Drive. That's the first flow, pretty straightforward. So then what we're going to do is we're going to have some sort of go signal set up on HubSpot. So this could be run either manually or automatically, right? You want to be able to go in the form, just type in the information, hit go, create this document for me and send me a draft, but you'd also want to be able to run it manually later, right? You want to have different mechanisms by which this thing can run. So maybe that go signal is a tag on the HubSpot deal. Maybe it's the type of name. There's a million ways you could do this. But you're going to get those files from the relevant deal, check what they are, same ones as in Google Drive. You could also check Google Drive. Then you're going to get that ClickUp folder that we mentioned earlier, we input it in the form, so that's the URL for the client that we're talking about. Then we're going to set up some templates within ClickUp so we can very easily make these tasks with AI and just drag those out, and then check PandaDocs for the document automation. If a draft exists, actually we'll come back to this later, but let's assume there's no doc that exists so far, so we just use what we're going to do is one file at a time. We're going to pull them out of ChatGPT, and we're going to summarize them within ChatGPT and then parse those summaries and put them all together into one piece. So basically ChatGPT is condensing all of this data down into one usable set of information. Now, the way that this data will be parsed, I've just got it here set up like, it's grabbing the file and it's dealing with it. Now, in reality, depending on the file types you have in there, you're going to need a little bit more redundancy. It depends on how complicated your inputs need to be. But let's just assume, we're going to go with the easiest case here. We're working with an hour. So then what we're going to do is we're going to use ChatGPT again to go through that information and aggregate it into one big summary. And we're going to, all the critical information, we're going to build a ClickUp goal, tasks, and, no subtasks, but goal and tasks. We're going to parse that information again, and then we're going to create one goal, because we have one goal per each of these systems within ClickUp, and then it's going to look at that information and say, okay, for each of these tasks that ChatGPT recommended, we're going to create a new task from these templates, which we've already defined, and then we're going to use all of this information to answer all of the RFP questions. Could you do this beforehand? Absolutely. It also makes sense to do it here. It doesn't really make a difference. but you know, you have extra information coming in from the synopsis in the tasks, so it can't hurt to put it here. We're going to parse that information again from ChatGPT. We're going to list all of the tasks that we now created within this space, and then this is a system I've used many times. We're going to use a template document within PandaDocs. All the information will get pasted into variables within the system, so you basically choose where you want this information to go from ChatGPT and the rest of the system. We're going to download a backup of this PDF draft, and we're going to upload it to Google Drive for redundancy. And then this document, once it's created, will get emailed to the creator, and you're able to make your comments. Now, one of the things that Josh mentioned that he would have liked is the ability for ChatGPT to review the RFP response and make a recommendation if it's approved. That's all fine and good. The system actually, I made it in the simplest way possible, and simple is always better with these things. So when we do this check up here to see if that draft exists, we'll drag out those comments from the draft document. So let's say you create it and you're going through and you say, you know, ChatGPT had an issue summarizing this part of the RFP. You just write your comments in. So then once you restart the system, if there's any issues, just comes back and bada bing, bada boom. You're all done. And you could also set it up to have like an additional ChatGPT review here. I only didn't because I'm working with an hour here. Is this not enough for you folks? Yeah, so that's basically it. If you got any questions, let me know. This is a pretty, this is a pretty complex system, but it was a ton of fun to put together. So anyway, thanks for watching, folks.